This happened roughly 5 years ago. I was at Baskin Robbins one night and went inside to get a shake. The location was about 10 minutes away from my house, in a little shopping area where I went all the time. I would guess it was about 8 p.m. or so. I know that it was nighttime, and not really anybody else was there. I ordered, and was standing inside waiting, when I noticed a man through the side of the window of the building. It looked like he was walking on the sidewalk and towards the front doors. I remember expecting him to come inside the doors, but instead, he just stopped and kind of pressed his head up against the window for a second and looked inside. Then he walked away. I thought it was a little bit weird. I could see that the guy had a long beard and wore sunglasses and kind of beat up clothes. It looked like he was homeless to me. I went on my phone after that for a minute or so. When I looked over again, the guy was gone completely. My shake was done within the next minute, and I picked it up and left. I walked out the door and was headed to my car, but immediately after exiting the building, I saw the homeless guy again. He was standing next to the building on the sidewalk, but farther down. He said hey to me and started walking in my direction. I looked over and waved, but really didn't want to talk to the guy. I just wanted to get to my car. The guy came up to me and I could see that he was limping. I kept on walking to my car and didn't stop. He basically followed me all the way over there. He said hi to me again and asked if he could talk to me for a minute. I asked him how I could help him, and he told me that he was homeless and had just sprained his ankle earlier that day. I said sorry and thought maybe he was going to ask me for money or something. Instead, the man asked if I would be nice enough to drive him to the McDonald's down the road. I looked and saw the McDonald's. It wasn't too far down the street at all. It was just across a busier street and then like 3 businesses down from where we were. I had a bad feeling about it, and I didn't know this guy. I just really didn't want to give him a ride. I wanted to help people, but something about this guy just seemed way too sketchy. I told him sorry but no, I was really in a hurry and was going in the opposite direction. Of course, I made up the second part. I wasn't in a hurry, but I felt like I needed to give the man a good reason. He asked again, and I just told him no and I couldn't do it. Then I got inside my car. I felt really bad, but I didn't want the guy getting in my car with me. He just seemed sort of creepy. The guy stood there right next to my driver's door for a few seconds, and then slowly walked away. I got inside of my car and locked the doors. I felt much safer now, but I also felt bad at the same time. Was I a bad person for not giving him such a short ride? I looked in my mirror and noticed the guy walking away still. He was going to the parking lot of the business next to Baskin Robbins, which was a Chipotle. When he got to the Chipotle, I saw him suddenly speed up his walking and start to walk at a really fast speed. He was no longer limping. I then saw him walk up to a car, pull out some keys, unlock the car, and get inside. Once inside, I watched him pull his beard right off his face. My jaw dropped as I saw this. He then backed out and drove away. I used to work at a Baskin Robbins ice cream shop a few years ago. I was in high school at the time, and it was one of my first jobs. The scariest thing to ever happen to me there took place on like my 3rd or 4th week working. I was still pretty new, and one night I was working with one other coworker, a girl named Caitlin. Our shop closed at 9 p.m., and at this time, I remember it was like 8:30 and not very many people were coming in at all. Caitlin and I were just standing around behind the counter talking and not really doing much. Soon it would be time to start cleaning and then close the place up, but for the moment we were just waiting around to see if any more customers would come in. As we were talking there, we started to hear a small thud. It sounded like it was coming from outside and behind us. The noise started to happen repeatedly, and it seemed like there was someone or something hitting against the building. Both of us walked to the back behind the counter and closer to where the noise was. It got louder and louder the farther back we went, and it was confirmed to us that the sound was coming from outside. Caitlin and I decided to go outside and see exactly what it was making the noise. We walked outside and could see that the parking lot was empty of cars, aside from ours that were parked next to each other in the corner. We went around the side to the back of the building, but couldn't see anyone. There was a door back there and a few bushes, but we figured if someone was hiding from us in the bushes or something, it would not be a good idea to approach them. We decided to just go back inside and finish up our shift. We agreed that I would do some cleaning around the small seating area that we had, and Caitlin would stay behind the counter in case we got any final customers. When not 1 minute after getting back inside, we heard noise again coming from the back. but this time, it sounded like it was coming from inside. We both decided to walk back and look. When we got back there, we didn't see anything at first. My eyes scanned the room a few times, and then I noticed something. I could see an arm sticking out from behind a box. I pointed at it and whispered to Kaylin. Somebody was definitely hiding back there. We both immediately ran away and out the doors. We went back to our cars and saw that whoever was in there did not follow us out. They were inside somewhere, and I called the police while sitting in my car. We waited in our cars the whole time until the police arrived, and we watched them enter the building. We had kept our eyes on the entrance and never saw anybody leave. No customers came in that time either. And when the police got there, they went inside and looked around. They ended up not finding anybody, but said that the door in the back was open. We went back to work after that, and the police stayed in the parking lot until we had finished cleaning and left. I'm a female. When I was in college, I worked at a Baskin Robbins. It was a summer job for me to make as much money as I could. I only worked there for one summer, but for the most part, I liked it. I would work all sorts of hours for my shifts, but usually on weekends, I worked earlier. Shortly after getting the job, though, some sort of strange things started happening to me. One day, there was a note on my car when I was done working. The note sounded like something a creepy stalker would write. At the time, I thought it was a joke from one of my friends, but none of them admitted it. Still, I had a feeling it might have been one of them, so I just shook it off. But later, things got worse. I was at home sleeping one night, and woke up in the middle of the night to hear the sound of a knock on my window. I freaked out and turned my light on, then pulled the cover back from my window, but nobody was there. After this, I was afraid somebody might have actually been stalking me. I talked with my coworkers about it. We suspected maybe it was a creepy customer. I couldn't be sure, but I kept my eyes out for anybody weird after that. We did get a lot of regular customers, so I guess it could have been just about anyone. On one Saturday, I worked from the time we opened at 6 a.m. until 12 p.m. It was just the morning, but this was one of the busiest times for us, especially on weekends. I was working most of the time that day with my coworkers Kevin and Amanda. I didn't know either of them all that well, and they were both older than me, but we got along good at work and could get things done. After a really busy morning of work, 12 o'clock finally came, and I clocked out and went home. It was really great to be done that early, and I was able to do a lot that day. I went out shopping and got food with some friends. That night, I was back at my parents' house, hanging out in my bedroom watching a movie. It was probably pretty close to midnight. I was tired, but I didn't work the next day, so I didn't mind staying up late. I was feeling really relaxed, until suddenly, I heard a sound coming from my window. Right away, I felt my heart start to race, and I got really nervous. I remembered the last time it had happened, and I looked over to the window, hoping that it was nothing. The window was partially covered with window covers, but they had a gap in the middle of them. I got up from my bed and pulled them back, but all of a sudden, I saw my coworker Kevin. He was standing there looking right at me. We made eye contact for a second, and then he suddenly ducked down and ran away. I screamed and immediately went to call the police. They ended up getting there only a few minutes later. That gave Kevin plenty of time to run away, but I knew exactly who he was and told everything to the police. He ended up getting caught and admitted to everything,